You started recording, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right. Well, we are here, baby. It is time to talk about some music.
Yes, it
It's
is.
sample time. We don't have any theme music yet, but I think we could come up with something real quick. What you thinking?
What do you mean? Sample?
Yeah.
Some samples?
Yeah. Well, no, not some samples. I'm talking about like a song. We need a theme song.
I don't know. Oh, you want me to sing? That's not gonna happen.
Okay.
That's
Well,
not. That's not gonna
we
happen.
tried.
We did. Listen.
Okay.
Maybe next. Maybe next time. Next episode.
Keep that in mind.
There you go.
Theme song.
Yeah.
But welcome to our first official episode of Sampled. Peep the shirts, peep the shirts. Yes, this is our first episode of the Sample podcast where we will talk all things music. We're going to get in front of this camera right here and gab about all of our favorite songs, talk about some memories associated with music, all that stuff. So I say that we get right into it
All right.
today.
All right.
And today we're going to talk about two albums that we both enjoy together as mother and daughter from each generation. So, my mom's generation, 80s, 90s, they was jamming, getting it in back then. But my generation, we got the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s
That
because
sounds really crazy.
we don't stop. We don't stop
No.
over here.
Right.
But we vibe with the music, and so we can vibe to something from her generation together.
For
We
sure.
can vibe with something from my generation together. So we wanted to put that on display
Right.
for the people.
Right. And I think it's cool that we can both appreciate those things
Yeah, for
from
sure.
each side. So
Definitely.
yeah.
So would you like to start, or you want me to go first?
You know what? I'm gonna let you do the honors. You go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to start with an album give you a blast from the past. And the first album that we're going to talk about is Purple Rain
Purple Rain.
by the one and only artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes.
Because he changed that to a symbol
Yeah,
for
he
those
did.
of you youngins.
And we still had to.
That didn't
They
know.
still. Yeah.
You
but,
still had to say Prince because nobody would know what you were talking about.
I mean, do you say the symbol?
How do you say it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's a good album, regardless. Prince
a
is amazing.
great
I love
album.
Prince.
I do too.
A lot of people don't like Prince.
Nah, they don't.
I feel like you gotta have that mind to appreciate.
So, I think the thing about Prince is he has, there's a funk element to him, and so
and a rock element.
for sure. So you gotta kind of you gotta like that funk element. You gotta really like that rock element, and you gotta like the two
Facts.
mesh together. And it's a few songs where it's just kind of like.
Okay.
What
he
is
did that.
Or what is he saying? Like, there are sometimes, like, I've listened to it and I'm in the street or driving, and it'll be, and it's one of our favorite songs from the album, Darling Nikki. And
When you get to the end.
yeah, and he's like screaming.
Bop, 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 bop,
Oh,
bop.
no, even before, but before that, and he's like the screaming
Yeah.
that's going on, and I'm like, you know what? Let me turn this down. Now, I done bumped the whole
Yes.
song the entire way, but
I love that part though. Like when that part comes on, I'm screaming with him. Like, I love that part. But yes, Darling Nikki, definitely one of my favorite songs off of that album. I think the first time I heard it, I can't remember where I heard it the first time, but I do remember hearing him
you probably
say,
heard it in my car.
yeah, probably, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, I knew a girl named Nikki, and I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I should not be listening to this song. But did I turn it off? Probably not.
So, and there's probably, listen, at the time that song came out, I'm going to say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have listened to that song. But did I really know what he was saying? And what I mean by that, like,
Yeah.
I probably said words. I don't even know if I knew the words to
Facts.
that song.
Yeah, for sure.
And even if I did, I really didn't know what that meant.
yeah. Like, you know the words, but you don't contextualize it.
Exactly.
At that
So,
age.
I mean, because he still had, what was the song with, We Can Until the Dawn. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, singing that with my heart, singing that with all my heart and soul, right? Like, and my mom or dad never stopped me. I don't even know, but I probably didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know,
you knew better.
Yeah, no, wasn't singing it
We're
out
not
loud.
like those people that like to say the word.
I wasn't singing it out loud, but I definitely knew the lyrics enough to know, like, oh, okay. And I think for a lot of people, it was like, well, they can't be saying that because they're playing it on the radio.
It can't be that bad if it's on the radio.
Right. You know, there was definitely a lot of stuff going on that shouldn't have been, because, listen, Juicy Fruit. And I know that's not a part of this album that we're talking about right now.
Honorable mention.
There you go. But just the song itself, it's like...
Yes. And that's why I'm glad that we're here having these conversations, because, like, when the older generations, like, you know, Grandpa. When they talk about our music, it's like, oh, it's so vulgar and so nasty, and why would they put that in a song? But it's like, y'all were singing about it. So the thing, it's not like new, and I get that, like, it is more explicit now, right. But the message was still there.
So I also think that there's like one of the things that he talks about her grandfather all the time when he mentions music. He's like, there's not a lot of musicianship. Right, so there's not a lot of like live instruments. Before, you had bands, you had people who played instruments and things like that.
I agree with that.
Although there are a lot of producers and things like that who can play, you know, they know how to play the guitar, the piano, and things like that. But it's not really in the music. And yes, the lyrics were about the same, but I think nowadays it's a bit more overt. Yeah. Whereas it was kind of...
There were some subtleties to it.
Yeah, it wasn't... I want to say subliminal, but that's not the right word. But there was definitely, like, it was undercover.
It wasn't,
you know what I mean?
In your face.
Exactly. It was a little on the slide.
You know, no WAPs playing on the radio.
Right. Although, we take it back. We take it back to, you know, a lot of stuff that came out when the controversy hit about WAP, right? And so, but going back to the Darling Nikki song, I love that song.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, and it takes you on a journey, not only like with the music, but with the words. Yeah. So like, you listen to what he's talking about, and then he's like, I woke up and she was gone. And you like, well, damn.
Well,
where did Nikki go?
Right, and then it's the movie.
Yeah, of course.
So like, when you watch the movie, and you're like, oh.
Homework assignment for those of you that haven't. Go watch Purple Rain right now. It's on HBO Max. It's out there and it's available.
You might want to go and check that out.
Yes. But another song from Purple Rain that I really, really like. Now I'm gonna save one of them for last, and I think you know what I'm talking about. But it's a song that I really, really like. I think everybody likes it. When Doves Cry.
Okay.
Love that song.
Okay.
Because I don't know. It's just, it feels very soulful to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's just like the words. Like,
okay.
I'm just like my mother. Sometimes I'm just like my daddy. When doves cry, like that's just a beautiful, I don't know. There's just a beautiful phrase, you know, like this is what it sounds like when doves cry. And it makes you think about it. Like, I've never even heard a dove cry before. Like, so I like that song. Okay. It's a bust down.
Okay, bust down. All right. What other song? I believe it. The Beautiful Ones.
That's the one.
The Beautiful Ones.
Shit.
Yeah. Okay. What happened?
I don't know what that is.
Can we pause the recording, or is it still recording? Yes. That's that one. That one right there takes me there all the time.
Yeah, The Beautiful Ones. That was the song that I was talking about earlier when I said you gotta put that on hold. You're gonna
put that one, okay?
Because that one, that's a song. That's probably the best song on the album for me.
Yeah,
I love that song.
So there's another one that I like.
I think I know which one it is.
Which one?
Computer Blue.
Yes. Yes. I love that. And I don't know. So I think about the movie. Yes. And I'm like, did they really? Were they? It makes you wonder. You like, wait a minute. Wendy and Lisa, what did you guys have going on?
Yes, Lisa.
Right.
I'm so
But that is that rock element of the album, right? Yes. Like definitely a little rock there. But I love that song. Yeah. I love that.
That's good. And at first, I remember specifically, well, I can't remember a specific moment, but I do remember us pulling up to the house after, I don't know, we have been ripping around all day probably. We pulled up to the house and we have been listening to the album. Maybe not even. You probably just were like, I want to listen to this song.
Probably.
And so we pulled up to the house, and before we got out the car, you started the song and you were like, don't go because I need you to hear this. And so,
how it usually happens too.
Exactly.
Right.
Is the water warm enough? And you're looking at me, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing? And
what is she have me listening to?
But I remember, like, as a kid, it was like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I want to listen to something else. But now I'm like, that's good music.
It is.
That lady knew what she was talking about.
I'm just saying, right?
Yeah, that's good. So we got Darling Nikki, The Beautiful Ones, When Doves Cry, and what did we just say?
Computer Blue. Mm-hmm.
Top 4 off Purple Rain.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Sure.
That's a good top 4.
That's what do you say? A bust down.
A bust down.
That's a bust down.
That's the official Breeziana stamp of approval.
Okay.
Bust down.
So, moving on to the next album from your generation that we both enjoy. Rihanna. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anti?
Anti.
Yeah.
Is it anti? It might be anti.
Okay. Whatever works.
Yeah. It's spelled A-N-T-I.
There you go.
Do with that what you will. But that album is Rihanna's best album to date.
Yeah.
And I honestly think she hasn't put out anything because I don't know if she can top that one. That one was good, top to bottom.
Yeah.
But what I will say about Rihanna though is like every album that she's put out has been consistently better than the last.
So I think about Rihanna and when she first came out and her very first single, Pon de Replay, and I was like, and that album. Even that song, that album is completely different than where she, from anything that she's done after that.
For sure.
Definitely in a totally different direction.
So maybe Work. Work might be like.
Work, but even with Work, like.
It's still different, yeah.
Yeah, like. It definitely had more. She grew up. You could tell she grew up, right? Like, she's older and it just. But it works though, because Work is still. I love that song.
Yes. And that album is just so good. It came out my freshman year of college. Now I remember I would be on the phone with my best friend, Devin. And he would, we would just be talking. And out of nowhere, he would start singing Needed Me. And so we'd be talking. And out of nowhere, he'd be like, didn't they tell you that I was a savage? And I'll be like, what are you singing? Like, what is this song? And he's like, you haven't heard Rihanna's new album? I'm like, no. Like, because I don't know. There's a part of me that, and I'm not proud of it, but, I live to go away from the hype. So if a bunch of people are flocking to something, I'm probably like, nah, not for me.
Okay.
But, so I did stay away from the album for a while. But when I finally heard it, I heard that song, I really, really liked it. One, because Mustard did that beat. DJ Mustard.
Okay.
It's not like anything else that he's done before.
No.
Like, aside from, the LMA stuff that he did later on, in 2018, 2017.
He's very talented, though. I like Mustard.
Yeah, he is.
Mustard on up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Every time.
I understand.
That's all I think about.
But, yeah, that is a very unique DJ Mustard beat.
For sure.
I really like it. And the song is just, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I like that song. So, Needed Me, Work. Oh, It's a song that it just does it to me every time.
Which one is it?
Desperado.
Okay, that's a good one. I thought you were gonna say "Kiss It Better," but Desperado is really
Desperado is.
I think when I first heard that song, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is that."
Right.
Mm-hmm. Explicitive.
There's another song that was on there that's really nice, and it has I think it's on the album. Yes, it has kind of like a 50s vibe to it.
Love on the Brain?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. It has that like. Yeah, I don't even know.
It is good. The music, and then it's something different from Rihanna. Something
for sure
different that she did with her voice, and
yes, because you know what you know what it reminded me of. It almost felt like an Amy Winehouse song.
I thought you were gonna say something like Etta James.
Yes, but Amy Winehouse has that Etta James vibe, so that's a perfect connection.
You know, I love me some Etta, girl.
Look at that. I mean, I'm just saying. So it's so much that's out there, but yeah, that album, Desperado.
Yeah, Desperado is a good one. What else off of Auntie? Now, I have.
And speaking of Desperado, you do know that that's actually a sample too. Like I don't know if you've ever heard the original.
I feel like I did know that. It was like, you know, that back of your brain knowledge. Mm-hmm. I think it was back there.
So homework, guys.
We'll bring that up in the next episode.
Yeah.
What did Rihanna sample for Desperado? I'm going to look that up. That's my homework too.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
But, yeah. Not Love on the Brain. So I have a memory associated with Higher. Freshman year at college. It was like I think it was the morning after I had like been partying like with friends and stuff. I don't think I was hungover because I can't say that I really had a hangover before, but I was still like a little buzzed when I woke up in the morning, and I started playing the album, like playing it from where I had left off last night, and the song Higher came on, and I just remember sitting in my bed, and I started boohoo crying. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but I was just sitting there and I was singing the song like, yeah, baby. It was bad. But that's how I knew. I was like, I really like this song.
So that's definitely, I think that's the thing about certain albums like that, where there are songs that you definitely feel it, and you feel the emotion, and whether you can sing or not, you're going to sing it with all your heart and soul, and it's just going to be like, yes, this right here is it. Like, you know,
I need it.
For sure. I needed this for my soul. But, yeah, I think both of those albums really are good albums, and they, from each generation, I feel like they kind of represent both of us in a way of just where our music tastes, like where it goes
live. And I also think that it shows how different our tastes are.
Very eclectic.
Yes, because Prince is like, you know.
And I think that there's a certain group of people who really appreciate Prince.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
the music lovers.
Yes, definitely. But I listen both of those albums.
Yeah,
I like them.
Very fire.
Yeah,
very fire.
I'm with it.
Yeah, so that's good.
And
some
then so I'm always like wanting to introduce Brianna to things. Like I'm always wanting to introduce you to things, especially when you were younger. And so we have an honorable mention, and it is De La Soul. De La Soul is Dead. And this album was one, like, for me, it just represents a lot. I have a cousin who passed away in 2010, and when this album was first released, like, he got it the day of. He loved, like, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest.
Like those New York rappers.
That, yeah, kind of like, they kind of call it like the backpack rap. So, like, all of that. And I love all of that. So I'm still into a lot of that today, right? I listen to him all the time. But, so this album I was always, you always want somebody else that you like. I'm always trying to get her on board. I'm like, always listen to this, listen to this. But the thing about this album, it had all these different inserts, and the album itself, cassette, came with like this comic book strip, right? And so you follow along on the tape, and so
Like
after the songs,
that tells
yes,
you to
turn the page, and it's like the interludes basically. But the thing of it is, it was really supposed to be like De La Soul is dead. Like, this kid finds his tape. He's like, man, I got the new De La Soul tape. I'm about to go check it out. He ends up getting jacked for the tape by some bullies. The bullies are listening to the tape and they do not like it at all. And they are like, what is this? Like, all the interludes, they're like, what is happening? So much so, like, the leader of the little crew, he is so disturbed. And one of the guys is like, he always keeps going, man, I kind of like it. And then the leader,
and then they get beat up.
You hear the leader beat him up, and he's like, "Man, shut up," And then they start playing it. But I really like this album. It's a fun album. Like, when you listen to it, like it's a couple of
the BK Lounge.
The biddies in the BK Lounge. I know from beginning to end. Like, I'm gonna play all the parts. I'm gonna be Shoshana. I'm gonna be Shoshana for real. But I just remember, like, I was trying to, I'm like, listen to this, and I'm cracking up. Like, at the interludes, I'm cracking up. But that is a very, like, that album will always be him. That will always be my cousin Pharaoh, aka Bo. But that's how we got our connection with music, because I'm always like, listen to this, or I'm always playing something that, when you like something, you're gonna play it a lot
for everybody.
So I'm always playing it a lot. And then when she got to a certain age, when you were like by middle school, I'm like, all right, listen, I know you listening to some stuff with your friends, so
let me put you on.
We gonna listen to a few things. And then there were things that you put me on,
sure.
But De La Soul is dead. And I think the only thing, if you're not familiar with that album, there's only one song that was a single. No, there were maybe two. But the one single was Skating Jam named Saturday. Great song, right? Great, fun song. But that album.
Yeah, I really like that album. I think when you started playing it for us, the biggest thing for me was I wish I was around when it came out. Because, like you said, it is a fun album. It's super duper funny.
Yeah.
And, like, now that I'm thinking about it, now that we're talking about it, it kind of seems like, well, it's essentially them making fun of themselves.
Exactly.
Like, and that is, I love all of that. So, like,
exactly.
I think it's great. The album it's so funny. Biddies in the BK Lounge is my favorite. I remember you playing it for us, and you rapped, like, the whole song, and I was sitting there like, what kind of song is this? Like, there's no, like, it's no real rapping. It's just like it's a long story, a long scenario just playing out. But I'm like, this, yeah. And as you kept playing it, and, like, you would be so into it, and I'd be like, you're crazy. And then, like, as time went along, it was like, nah, this is
I love that
music.
Song, man.
I also have Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa on vinyl, the single.
Yes.
And I love that song. It's so hard to find it. Like, hard to find it on YouTube. I think I may have found it on SoundCloud, but it's a really good one.
And the other thing about that song, right? Like,
it's
you
deep.
Listen to it, right? It's deep. Like, listen.
You hear the title and you're like, Millie Pulled a Pistol on Santa.
Right.
Why would she do that? But then you listen to the song and you're like, okay.
And basically the song is about a young girl, and she has friends, and her friends feel like her dad is like the coolest person, but little do they know what her dad is doing to her. And Millie has just about had it. And Millie is like, you know what?
She start calling people, hey, where can I get a gun at?
Like, I can't do this anymore. Right. And yeah, so
but that's an album like Purple Rain and like Auntie, takes you on a journey.
It does. But and I think that the De La Soul is Dead album, not many people will get it. Like, I feel like you have to kind of be that fan. Like, you gotta be a fan of like De La Soul. You kind of have to be a fan
or
of,
just have an open mind, because it's
that
not
too.
especially like people from my generation. It's not what we're listening to.
No, and it's
super
not.
fast,
It's not a
raunchy.
thing. It's not an album that has bangers. Like, oh, this bangs. This knocks. It's
the
not
beats
that
hard. Like, but
it's not
it's
that.
Still good.
It's
music.
a good. It's a good album.
It makes you feel good. For sure.
Definitely for me. Yeah. And I know that, like, it's a memory. It's a forever memory that I will have with him.
Same. I'm glad that we both have memories associated with. You have your time with Pharaoh, aka Bo.
Right.
And I have middle school, being in a car, you picking us up from middle school and us driving around, and you singing Biddies in the BK Lounge, and we were like, what the...
Man, I'm going to have to play that in the car. I'm going to have to play it in the car.
But yes, that's a good one. Well, I think that this is a good time to...
I think so. We can wrap it up and end it here.
Thank you guys for tuning into the first episode of the Sampl'd podcast.
Yes.
Be sure to check out our playlist where we will pick the songs that we mentioned from the albums that we mentioned. We'll put that on a playlist for you guys to enjoy. And after you check out this episode, listen to the playlist, feel free to hit us up. Let us know if we left off some songs off those albums that you may like as well. And that's all I got. You got anything?
I mean, listen, she said it all, so
I usually do. All right. Keep up with us on Instagram, and we'll check out y'all later.